Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's session on the Corning Professional Network. My name is Etienne Joseph, but you can call me E. By now, most of you have probably heard me laughing or commenting during different sessions, so I will give you my Cliff Notes intro. I've been with Corning for almost 7 years. I've recruited in almost all of its divisions, and I currently lead all undergrad campus initiatives for the company. Just a few housekeeping notes. Everyone will be placed on mute, so we ask that you remain on mute for the duration of the presentation. We'd like this to be as interactive and engaging as possible, so feel free to direct any questions to the chat. If you are not familiar with the chat, when you move your mouse, a floating taskbar will pop up at the bottom of your screen. The chat function can be accessed via the third icon from the right that looks like a thought bubble. And last but not least, some of you already know this, but we highly encourage video from everyone, so feel free to uncover your cameras and join us. Now, as an intern, a new, or even an experienced employee, Corning understands that its employees need different ways to meet their colleagues and network as they learn about the company, and also to integrate themselves into its culture. One of the best ways to do this is by joining an employee resource group or an ERG. Corning proudly sponsors a variety of ERGs which represent vital employee constituencies, and all of its ERGs are open to all Corning employees who are interested in joining. Now, with that said, I'd like to introduce Evan Bittner from Environmental Technology and Jeremy Payne from Science and Technology, who will be leading this morning's coffee chat over the Corning Professional Network. Evan, Jeremy, take it away.
Oops. All right, thank you. Share this. All right, thanks. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jeremy Payne. I work in MT&E as part of the Thermal Process Engineering Group. I've been with Corning for 7 years. I've been on the Corning Professionals Network leadership board for 6 of them. So it's been a great organization, a lot to offer. So we'll go into some of the details on what our mission is, what are the things that we accomplish, and how that could be a benefit to the employees. One of the main missions that the Corning Professionals Network has is to help employees acclimate and establish roots by providing engaging experiences, cultivating connections, and promoting personal and professional growth. And how that applies is that we basically help new people to the area. So coming into the Corning Valley, it could be a bit of a culture shock depending on where you're coming from. And so we try to help new people, whether that's fresh graduates, people who are just new hires later in life, whether it's transfer employees from other Corning organizations or locations. It's really just trying to get them to know and enjoy living in this Corning area community. And so we do that through a variety of networking, community, and professional growth opportunities. And so we'll go into some of those offerings that we host every year, and we'll go into some of the details about some of the opportunities that are available, how those are beneficial, and then we'll take any questions towards the end. So there are 3 CPN chapters, technically worldwide currently, one here in the Corning Valley, another in Charlotte, North Carolina. They recently moved from Hickory. And Tewksbury, Massachusetts is the most recent one, and Reynosa, Mexico is our international chapter. So there's a huge campus down there, so they do a lot of great events. The 4 chapters, we try to meet at least quarterly to share some ideas on how events are going, some ideas on planning, opportunities to collaborate, and just in general to share best practices and to continue to expand our network. because you never know who you might work with or what kind of opportunities might arise in other locations outside of where you might start. We currently have an 8-member leadership team. Myself and Evan are the president and vice presidents of the CPN chapter in Corning Valley. We have a treasurer and communications chair, and then we have 4 event coordinator positions. The reason we have 4 is that we try to handle a lot of events. So typically in a normal year, we would host anywhere between well above 20 events. So obviously that's more than one a month, and so it can get pretty busy. So many hands make light work. So having multiple event coordinators to be able to share the load, kind of divide up the tasks, really helps us to provide the best opportunity without overloading any of us on the leadership team. So going to some of the events that we offer, and just to give you an idea of kind of things that we do and how those are beneficial. So the first is we do try to do at least 3 or 4 volunteering opportunity events every year. So in the years past, we've done the Habitat for Humanity, where we've either helped demolition a house in preparation for revitalization. We've helped revitalize the exterior of some of my houses in a different project. We've helped build or try to replace new things for a current build. So it's been a great opportunity, and we've been able to do that for multiple years, and we've tried to do it for the Global Volunteer Week that we've established a number of years ago. The Global Volunteer Week is a time that each of the chapters tries to execute their own volunteer activity during the same general time frame, just so we have even more connection between each of the chapters. We've done a lot of work with the food bank, and so the food bank also in the recent events with the pandemic has had to kind of adjust, and so we've worked with the local schools to set up, and with the food bank to set up a local emergency food hub, so where we're basically packing boxes to supply non-perishable goods for those in need. They were able to distribute those to families so that they can do well from themselves from there. We've done a lot of work at local dog shelters, animal shelters, through either cleaning, general maintenance, walking the dogs, cats, playing with them. So it's always been a pretty rewarding opportunity to do those kind of events, especially if you like animals. So it's been those are always fun. Recently, last year, we started doing Wreaths Across America, which is an event that places memorial wreaths on the gravestones at the local veterans at the Veterans Cemetery. One we didn't, it was just a couple weeks ago. We did some work with the local trail system. We've done those a couple times. So again, a lot of opportunities to get out in nature, get your hands dirty, and be able to give back to the community. So these volunteer activities we really feel are a great opportunity to give yourself a sense of belonging. So if you're giving yourself to a specific cause, or whether it just be multiple different causes that can have a beneficial impact on the community, it really helps you to feel like you belong there and feel a closer connection than if you just kind of stayed home and played video games. So these are great opportunities. We've had really good success with those. So the next type of events that we'll talk about are professional development series. So we've had another aspect of the growth that we can provide through our organization is to provide opportunities for professional development. And so we can take advantage of either internal Corning Incorporated resources, bring in external speakers, or partner and partner with other organizations, whether those be internal employee resource groups, the ERGs, or through the external groups that are kind of in the community. So in one instance, in the upper right, you see the etiquette dinner. We hosted this with the Corning area young professionals, which encompasses everyone in the Corning area, not specifically to Corning Incorporated. So we partnered with them and brought in a gentleman who was a butler for a royal family, and you got to talk about how to meet people, how to which forks to use, which wine glasses, and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really interesting event, and plus we got a pretty good free dinner out of it. Network Like a Rockstar is Jamin Patel. We brought him in as an external speaker to be able to generate some ideas and conversations around how to effectively communicate yourself. And so how do you present your information? How do you give that 1-minute elevator speech? How do you give your sales pitch of that I do things well? So we've done talks about promotions and just general networking, how you should introduce yourselves. So that was a really great event. And then the two on the left are some of the internal resources that we'll be able to use. So Corning Incorporated had a archive tour where they went over the history of the corporation. It was kind of a show and tell, and you got to touch some of the old products and some pretty cool stuff like that. And then there was in the Corning Incorporated headquarters building, there's a lot of artistic exhibits in there. And so we had a tour guide go through, discuss a lot of the artists, the works that were there, kind of giving a history of that. So those have been great opportunities for development, whether it's through professional growth, and be able to learn something or be able to practice something. And so we've had some great opportunities to bring in some internal executives or folks further along in their career, be able to share their experiences, just to give an idea for people who are just fresh starting out, where they might envision their career path going. So you can try to get an idea of what it requires to get there, instead of just kind of blindly going into thinking this is the ultimate goal that I want to have. So those are the first two big groups types of events that we do. At this point, I'm going to pass along to Evan. He'll discuss some of our annual events that we do, as well as some of the events that we do on our Blue Line, which is the local, our internal social network. So, Evan?
All righty. So we have a few annual events each year. These are some of our, I'd say, bigger events and really popular events. So I'll start off in the bottom left-hand corner with the wine tour. So each year we basically run a coach bus and we go to a handful of wineries. Typically, sometimes we'll throw a brewery or a distillery in there, and do a tasting tour around one of the Finger Lakes. So Finger Lakes, we're lucky to have close by, lots of opportunities as far as wineries, breweries go, and recreation around the lake. So it's a fun day. It's probably our biggest event of the year, and it's always a great time. So we're looking forward to doing it again. We do it every year. We try and rotate around between the lakes, mainly Seneca, sometimes Keuka. So that's always a good day. The cardboard boat regatta is one we started doing just a couple of years ago. I'm in the bottom right-hand corner there. So there's a big festival in Watkins Glen, which is about a half hour from Corning, where people make their own boats, and the goal is to go a certain distance without sinking, essentially in your boat that you make out of cardboard. And I think duct tape is one of the only other materials allowed. So the CPN, ahead of time, a few members get together each year and create a boat. And there's different categories for the boat too. It's not just try and finish, like you see ours is very patriotic. There's a category for most patriotic. And I think did we actually win that year? One of the years, Jeremy?
Yeah, we did win that. Yeah, we won them with that year.
So that was pretty cool.
That is an amazing boat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different categories, and they have like different size categories, and yeah, it's a huge festival. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so we spend the day barbecuing and getting ready for the race. It's always a lot of fun. Top right, hiking trip. So another perk of the area is that there's lots of opportunities for hiking, lots of gorges in and around the Finger Lakes, and we're not far from Pennsylvania either. There's a couple nice spots down in Pennsylvania. This particular photo is Letchworth State Park. Some call it the Grand Canyon of the East. Not quite like the Grand Canyon out west, but very scenic, especially in the fall when the leaves are changing. So for that, we rent a bus and go out to a place within about an hour drive of Corning. There's really a lot to offer. So it's a great way to get out, explore some new areas you might not see otherwise. And then we just started doing a cornhole tournament. Great way to get a lot of people involved, hanging out, and who doesn't love playing cornhole on a nice summer day. So those are some of our big annual events. Jeremy already touched on the Global Volunteer Day, Global Volunteer Week. So next up, we got Blue Line events. So the Blue Line is an internal social network for Corning employees, and there's a lot of good stuff on there as that community kind of grows, not just socially, but also for like administrative stuff. I've even gotten technical help on there. But as far as CPN goes, we use it kind of to build your social network. And so to kind of foster participation on the Blue Line, we have one of our event coordinators kind of host Blue Line events. So we have our kind of our main events for the year, the 20 kind of that Jeremy mentioned. And then we have someone post on Blue Line and say, hey, we want to do X, Y, or Z today. Who wants to join? So it's kind of a more informal way. We don't send it out through our distribution list because the idea is kind of to get people active on the Blue Line and interacting with each other. So some of the examples we've done are, hey, who wants to go to trivia? You know, comment or like if you're interested, and we'll get a group together. So that's in the top left corner there. We've done ice skating. Goat yoga has been a really popular one. We've done that a few times. Wine and design, and the list goes on. And it's kind of a neat way to just really quickly, hey, I want to do something. Who else might be interested? And so the goal is to get our members to kind of end up taking the lead and doing things like this on their own. So those have been pretty popular and a good way to get people active and involved. And then we'll sprinkle in a few other events throughout the year also. So happy hours, we usually try to have a happy hour at least one every other month. In the summertime, we've been targeting once a month while people are more active and out and about. So those are always a hit, those two images on the left. And we try and spread them around between the Corning area or close by. Horseheads is like 20 minutes. A lot of employees live in Horseheads. So I think the one on the left might be Upstate Brewing in Horseheads, and then Volo's the bar on Market Street. So those have been really well attended. Great way to meet people. I've met a lot of friends at our happy hours. Holiday party, every year we have a holiday party at the end of the year, usually a big hit. And then we try and sprinkle in bowling and another family event or two throughout the year. Again, just trying to get as many people involved as we can, since we're really an ERG for everyone. So we're super active, like Jeremy said, 20 plus events a year. So there's always something going on, and there's kind of something for everyone, which is nice too. We have a pretty nice variety between all of our events, happy hours, networking, career development, volunteering, etc. So big plus.
Yeah, it's been one of our big. Oh, go ahead, Evan.
No, I was going to say, I think that's most of what we have prepared.
Yep. Yeah, it's been one of our big concentrations has been, to be able to provide a diversity of different types of events, because, not everyone is at the same, station in life, so that we're still be able to appeal to everyone, like Evan had said, so that we have events that have, people who have young children, can still enjoy time. Can bring their children to volunteer events or these family bowling type events. Folks who aren't interested in the bar scene can do some of the other variety of events. So we really try to have a diversity, and so that's kind of the other part of why we have so many events, is just so that we can touch on all those aspects and give something for everyone. So we've done the real reason for a lot of that has been because we've done some end of the year surveys to try to garner some feedback from our members and really kind of try to take all of it to heart. And so we've had a really good experience after we took that initiative. So all these events all kind of offer the same thing: a chance to meet new people, to get involved in the community, to experience everything that the Corning area has to offer. And then just really the ultimate goal is to, have people like living here. Because I had said before, it can be kind of a little bit of a culture shock depending on where you're coming from. Especially if you're, coming from someplace like Manhattan or something. Coming to Corning, New York can be quite daunting. So getting people to like it, make friends, just so that not feeling alone, is really helps you, to get acclimated and to enjoy this area. So that's all we had prepared. So we'll be happy to field any questions. So feel free.
Yeah, guys. So we've had a handful of questions come in through the private chat. The first one is, in what ways has the Corning Professional Network impacted your careers?
From a career standpoint, so I work in MT&E, and so MT&E has kind of been is more or less an internal kind of consulting firm for the rest of the businesses in Corning. And so a lot of what I've done is we have to find work to do sometimes. And so being able to meet new people, kind of just strike up conversations about what kind of things you've been working on, kind of leads to a lot of those opportunities to find work. Otherwise, or if that's not the case, maybe we talk about it and I can't do it, but I know someone else who can. I think that those kind of things, being able to facilitate a lot of collaboration and communications between different people, just to be able to even get the right two people in the same room, kind of can really help with that. The other aspect, has been, I think, any kind of, it's kind of a low pressure leadership type position, right? I mean, we were talking about going to happy hours and doing volunteer. Yeah, it's all sounds good, but at the same time, you're still just trying to get people to go to the bar. So it's not like it's not a huge high pressure situation, but it still gives you that opportunity to develop yourself as someone, organizationally, or how do you communicate with teams effectively. So it kind of gives you kind of a safe bubble to do those things versus the high pressure situation, or not necessarily high pressure, but higher pressure situation of being in a project that demands results right away. So it can be those are the two biggest things I've taken away. Evan, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I would echo that. For me, especially communicating, to having that space to kind of communicate and practice that safely. And Jeremy touched on it, but putting faces to names too is a big one, because Corning, it's a big company, but at the same time, it's a small company. And so you meet someone out at CPN Event, it's been a lot easier for me because I have then encountered them in the super professional setting, or a more professional setting rather, where it's kind of having that rapport already has been really helpful on projects.
Right on. And it looks like Hunter kind of cleared it up, but just for confirmation and a little bit of fun, Amanda would like to know, what exactly is goat yoga? And do you have any funny stories involving goat yoga?
What does Hunter say? You do? Yeah, that's basically exactly what it is. It's people do yoga with goats running around. There is a person who works for Corning who actually owns a farm, and they have a bunch of goats. And yeah, you do yoga. They've done it in a barn. I think the pictures we had shared. It was like a beautiful day, so they're able to do it outside. It's been. It sounds like a goofy thing, and it is one of the first events that sells out when we do it. Basically, like we put it out. We know that there's let's say 20 spaces, and there's a wait list within like a day. So it's kind of a crazy thing. People love it, and yeah, I've actually never been to it. I haven't had a chance. We've only done it for two or three times. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some funny stories of goats going doing their business right nearby. So
right on. Thank you for that, for indulging. So next question is there a formal application process, and are there any requirements other than being a Corning employee to join this ERG?
No, yeah, it's pretty much you tell us you want to be a part, and we add you to an email list, and you get all the information that you want. We have an internal email list, and that's maintained separately from our the internal social network, the Blue Line group. So we have resources on both. The emails are kind of reserved mostly for more of those formal type of invitations, and the Blue Line is more of those informal type events, as well as some resources. So we've tabulated some results from a couple of years ago. We sent out a survey to all of the ERGs in the Corning Valley and tried to get their input on their favorite places, whether it's restaurants, doctors, car dealerships, places to live. You name it, anything you might want to, for the most part, anything you might want to know when you move into a new area. We try to get that feedback from everyone. So we had, I don't know, a few hundred people respond, and so we have a big tabulated list of like top 10 favorite restaurants and bars and grocery stores and doctors, and like I said, just a huge list. And so we have that stored on our Blue Line page as well. So the Blue Line's kind of reserved for that, for those resources and informal invitations. But yeah, they have no requirement other than being a full-time employee at Corning Incorporated.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question is, what is your favorite CPN event you've been to, whether it's been social, volunteer, or professional development?
Evan, you want to go first?
Sure. It's hard to go against the line tour, but I think one of my favorites to date has been one of the Global Volunteer Days. One, because it's a neat concept to get people all around the country and the world volunteering at the same time. But we were also doing one year the Habitat for Humanity, and it was a demolition project. So we basically went into this house and totally gutted it. So it was a lot of fun, just ripping down walls and getting everything out of there. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a pretty good one. I remember that. Yeah, we just walked in with sledgehammers and just went to town. I think one of my favorite ones, it was pretty interesting. The most memorable one to me was the Wreaths Across America we did last year. So it was, like I said, it was this event where they put the wreaths on the cemetery, on the headstones, and it was a crappy day. I mean, it was like December and it was like 40 and raining. It was just like the worst thing you could, weather wise. But there was hundreds of people there. It was just huge crowd of people. Like we had to walk a mile because they just overloaded all the parking lots. And it was an incredible experience to see that many people out in such terribly inclement weather. But yeah, that was a really enjoyable experience.
Good deal. Given the situation, are you guys currently holding any virtual events?
Yes, yeah. So that's been one of the things that we've tried to push has been trying to be creative, right? You can't go to the bar to host happy hour, so we've done some virtual happy hours. We've done some some of our professional events we've transitioned to some smaller professional type of events we've transitioned to virtual. So we've done some events where we've kind of specific software packages that people might use. So Microsoft OneNote, or we did a seminar on ergonomics at home. Obviously, in the office we all have these fancy chairs and the standing desks and all that kind of stuff if you want it. But at home, some people, I'm fortunate I have my own little office, but some people are working on the kitchen table. So like you have to make do with what you have. And they gave a lot of tips for how to make things work for that exact purpose. So yeah, we've done try to do a lot of virtual events, and we're gonna probably try to keep that going because we're not sure when things will return, but it's been successful. We've had pretty good times with the virtual happy hours, and basically exactly what we're doing here is little smaller groups, but everyone has their video and kind of just chit chats and have some fun. Kind of catches up with people because you can't just we're not, even if you are returned to the office, we're not real still being very social and just hanging out in the hallway, kind of catch up. So it's been a good opportunity to still maintain some of those connections that way.
Good deal. Thank you for that. So we are at a little bit past the time. So again, guys, wanted to first of all thank you guys for your time today. Obviously, with everything that's going on, I'm sure you guys are busy putting contingencies in place and things like that. So really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to deliver such a good presentation. We're going to hang on just a second to see if we have any additional questions come in. I don't think we do. I think the last one, Yinvo, was kind of mirrored a previous question in that, what is your favorite CPN event? She was asking, what are some memorable memories of that you guys can recall that you have with the CPN? So if you guys wanted to take just a moment to respond to that, we'll do that one, and then we'll close them out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Evan.
I was going to say the food bank's always been a memorable one for me because, unfortunately, food bank is a big need. And just how grateful people have been throughout most of our volunteering events for the help. That's really kind of hit home with me for the most part. And then hearing even from employees how CPNs help them in their careers. And there's not necessarily one moment that stands out in terms of that, but they pop up over time.
Yeah, those are both really good sentiments. I think the other thing, even from a kind of a minor standpoint, is the relationships that come out of some of these events. So, I mean, Evan, you met your roommate, right, through CPN, and like people have, met their significant others at some of these events. So it's been like those kind of just small connections that have come out of this, and it's just such a good opportunity to bring people together that wouldn't necessarily, run into each other all the time or meet in these kind of situations. So being able to just provide those little things, I think, has been really memorable for me, and just to know, just to see where things, like, if you've been around long enough, right, you can see where things started and where they end up going. So I think that's been really great, is just people enjoy and get people to enjoy this area. I grew up in a really small town, so like Corning is big city living to me, but so the big thing, it's kind of interesting. I enjoy getting other people to like living here. You know those people that come from the city and they're kind of dreading it and they want to go back to wherever as soon as they possibly can. So it's been good to see those same people kind of come around and enjoy living here, and go on hikes and all those kind of things. So I think those are kind of some of the most memorable parts for me.
Corning Professional Network, bringing people together. I love it, man. Good stuff. All right, guys. So again, we are officially 5 minutes past the half hour. So again, thank you for your time. Again, We know you guys are busy. Great presentation, great overview of the Corning Professional Network as well. For the people attending this call, the recording will be available by the end of this week. So if there's anyone, any of your peers who wanted to attend but couldn't, they'll have access to it by the end of the week. And again, we just want to thank you guys for your time, all of the attendees, and we hope you guys have a good start to your week.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.